Anyway, peace, light, and love. Today is a new concept because the dogs really need to sleep. If I keep the light on, they get very upset. And I couldn't sleep, but I think part of it is because of overstimulation. And I was watching this YouTube, which leads me to the dark side of humanity. So it makes sense this is in the dark, not only because the dogs, they need to sleep, like little children, they need their sleep, otherwise they get crabby. And I'm just recovering from injuring my finger from the leash, dog leash. Wow, the dog was chasing a cat. I think about the dark side of humanity and this lawyer who has this crime watch. And again, I think I mentioned it before, it's about the good deal he could have gotten. Not that he didn't deserve the punishment he will get, but why did he confess? And it's interesting that this very experienced, obviously articulate, intelligent lawyer from Colorado never thought of the concept of a person feeling guilty for what they've done and wanting to confess and seeking to take responsibility for what they've done. I mean, in his entire career, he's never met people that just said, I deserve it, I did something bad. Does everybody seek to get a deal? Does everybody seek to avoid responsibility and get the least amount of pain for the suffering of others? I mean, this is heavy-duty stuff. This is not like a parking ticket, is it? It's not like you're getting out of a parking ticket or tax, I don't know, whatever, evasion or let's say hitting somebody's car or something. This is murdering pregnant women and children. I mean, why would he not feel guilty? Granted that a person who is cruel enough to do such despicable acts, probably you would expect him not to have feel anything. But why should the court of law encourage that? Then it occurred to me that these lawyers, I mean, can they sleep at night? What kind of a lawyer can actually justify getting a reduced sentence, getting people to take less responsibility for their deeds? I understand that this is a more humane society than the sort of society that used to, at least in the Westerns, like the Wild West films I used to watch, they would just take a person and hang them in the public square. Everybody was watching and cheering on. There was a chance that this person was not guilty. Because how do you know? You know, it's what the court of law is all about. It's important to determine a person's guilt, but however, having said that, if a person actually confesses, I mean, why don't you just let it go? Why do you have to, with your lawyer instinct, try to act as if it's like a deal, like as if it's like some sort of like bargaining, like, can I get this shirt for less money? No, it's not like that. You're trying to get people to take less responsibility for their actions because you know the law and you know how to work around it. I think that's sad. I think it's really sad. I don't know who's worse. Somebody who's a murderer like a murderer or someone who defends him and tries to get him off, tries to kind of minimize the punishment. Yeah, you're not going to get back with people, but the person knows he did it, so why should you make his life easier? The fact that he's alive, it's already more than his victims have to look forward to. You can't bring back people that have been murdered. You can't bring back to those families the sense of joy and happiness, well-being that they had knowing they had children or a daughter and grandchildren and so much to look forward to. And all that is just gone and erased. How can you measure such pain? I don't know how. I mean, I know what it's like to lose parents. I don't know what it's like to lose a child. I think what I know from people who have lost children, like soldiers, which is already an adult person, it's really hard, and you think, oh, if only it could be different and we could change places. That's what a parent feels, I can imagine, and I don't want to even imagine it. So these lawyers, they deal with such the darkest side of human beings, and yet they seem darker than the dark. There's this song, Paler Shades of White, so this is like the darker shades of dark, darkest side of the moon. Sorry to quote this song by Pink Floyd, but it just seems to fit the dark side of the moon, dark side of humanity. So then I saw those videos that claim that the family of Chris Watts has started to slander Shan'Ann Watts and say that she was slander her character. I don't want to repeat what they said. First it was the sister, now I realize it's also the mother. His mother is also. And people say in a nice way, oh, it's in denial. I don't think it's in denial. I think they're just crappy people, because I can't imagine it, but I've also had experience like that people who have rotten kids, they defend them because they themselves are rotten. Parents of adult children who are violent towards their spouses, and they defend that, and they protect him, and they get him a great lawyer, and I think it's despicable, but it shows that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, he's a murderer. He had to learn it somewhere. If it's genetic or learned behavior, I'm not the one to say, but maybe it's naive to expect that they would say, oh, terrible, I'll disconnect from him, I'll disown him after what he did to those poor girls, my grandchildren, and that poor woman. But people don't act like you want them to act. And I remember another case, I forget his name, the South African athlete who used to run on this metal rods. He didn't have legs. He was in a wheelchair. I forgot the term. And then there was the case of, I don't know, I remember following it a little bit, the trial. He shot his girlfriend. She was this beautiful model person. And he said he thought there was an intruder. And then he shot. But then he shot her in the bathtub or something. It was very odd. Why would you shoot somebody in the bathtub? Anyway, I forgot his name. He has a very complicated name, but he's South African. So is she. And what really shocked me is the way his family stood behind him, like the entire family. I'm talking about parents, I'm saying the uncle, and they were all hugging him, and he was crying, and he's like, because it wasn't established that, but that they killed her, but I mean, it was very, very odd, very fishy, the whole story. And he was also going to leave her. I don't remember the story exactly, but sometimes a person really has a lot of evidence against him. And when the family, how do they know he didn't do it? But yet they choose to sit there behind him and support him no matter what. And I think in this case, unconditional love doesn't doesn't work for me, because there should be a red line. There should be, like, if a person murders people, like a girlfriend or pregnant wife or children, there should be like a red line when family says we don't want to have anything to do with this person. But it seems that family only disowns you when something like a inheritance and they want to have everything, so they just fight you in court or steal and then just disconnect. But otherwise it's hard for the family to admit that their relative did something wrong, because it can also be, people will say that they're like that too, so they all stick together. It's very sad that people just take responsibility and say, this is not right, this is not right. But then again, I am being naive, and perhaps the world is not such a nice place. And as we know, that it's saying that deep down people are good inside, was told by Anne Frank, doesn't hold true for 99.9% of people, including every one of us. We make mistakes. But some people make very, very big mistakes. Very, very big mistakes. They should pay for it. It just seems right to me. As I said, I don't think death penalty works. I think statistics say it doesn't work. It doesn't prevent murder. Because if it did, then there would be less murder when there's more death penalties. And it doesn't work like that. And we want to prevent murder. We want to prevent crime. We want to be more effective. If it doesn't work, there's no need for it. It's revenge. Because, like family of Shan'Ann Watts said, one man decided to take the lives of their daughter and their grandchildren. So they're not going to make the decision to take his life. It's a noble decision. Just think that killing is killing. And as much as I hate the thought that he might one day walk out or run out or break out or whatever, or have a fan club, be a hero in the eyes of so many. I mean, just yesterday, this man called Stan Lee was the creator of Superman. I think Superman as well. Spider-Man, for sure. All kinds of superheroes. He made a beautiful speech, and he said that we need to be better to each other. We need to see a brother and sister in each other. And he was very idealistic. I think that's why he had written those stories about the superheroes. I think we all need a hero. And the villains should have to pay. They should really pay and should be away from where they can harm people. Peace, light, and love, and justice for those that are no longer with us to demand it.